Step into the arena of minds. On this channel, every move is a clash of strategy, every sacrifice a turning point, and every game a battle for glory. Watch two players push the limits of creativity and calculation, as we bring you the drama, suspense and excitement of chess like never before. Wesley So pushes pawn to d4, staking bold central claim and signaling an aggressive, cinematic opening battle for space. Iyong replies with nf6, a flexible knight developing towards center, ominous pressure and teasing tactical skirmishes ahead. Wesley answers with c4, grabbing more center, inviting tension and preparing typical Queen's Gambit-style combat and pawn breaks. Yu calmly plays e6, a solid fortress move, preparing harmonious development and a slow, patient counterpunch on dark squares. Wesley develops nc3, knight lance actively supporting center, ready to jump into tactics and chase black's weakening squares. Yu brings bishop to b4, pinning knight provocatively, introducing immediate piece play and psychological pressure on white's structure. Wesley plays nf3, natural development defending d4 and preparing kingside safety, battle lines quietly drawing closer. Yu thrusts c5, striking at white's center, dynamic pawn tension rising like gunfire across the board. Wesley fianchettos g3, creating a kingside fortress and long diagonal power, posture both calm and lethal. Yu captures cx4, exchanging pawns to open lines and create asymmetry, a tactical invitation to complications. Wesley recaptures nx4, knight hops into the fray, centralizing massively and threatening to dominate the tempo fiercely. Yu castles king, tucked safely while rooks awaken, a classic decision, gearing for middle game fireworks. Wesley brings bg2, completing kingside harmony and eyeing long diagonal, with quiet menace toward black's royal flank. Yu mates d5, challenging the center boldly, transforming tensions into direct combat for central domination and space. Wesley retreats nct2, repositioning for flexibility and sneaky pressure, keeping options open for tactical rerouting. Yu sacrifices with bxc3, exchanging bishop for knight, a sharp imbalance that punctures white's pawn structure dramatically. Wesley recaptures bxc3, doubled pawns acquired yet center control retained, emotions mix, structural weakness versus dynamic prospects. Yu slides q to 7, Queen centralizes behind pawns, eyeing kingside and c-file opportunities, plotting precise future strikes. Wesley plays cxd5, opening the center decisively and inviting concrete calculations. Battle intensifies, pieces now collide. Yu recaptures nxd5, knight invades centrally, exchanging material for activity and keeping the initiative's embers glowing. Wesley repositions nb4, knight leaps to active post, aiming at shicks and d5 squares, sly tactical pressure mounts. Yu answers nxb4, knight captures aggressively, simplifying but aiming to neutralize white's central knight influence immediately. Wesley recaptures cxb4, pawn recovers on b4, structure altered yet rook files opening, a gritty strategic trade-off. Yu plays a date, rook occupies the open d-file, centralizing heavy pieces, and preparing to contest the heart of battle. Wesley plays qb3, queen is b7, and d5 squares, coordinating threats with dramatic intent toward black's shaky queenside. Yu responds nc6, knight develops to natural square, reinforcing d4 and b4 control, while fueling middle game tension. Part Wesley castles, king safety achieved. White ready to unleash coordinated rooks and bishops in a cinematic middle game. Pushes n4, knight storms into white's camp, aggressively planting on enemy soil and threatening tactical ruptures. Wesley retreats qb2, queen slides to safer square while keeping the pressure, poised, patient and venomously prepared. Thrusts f5, a princely pawn break opening lines and initiating a sharp kinetic central clash between titans. Wesley plays b3, bishop develops to challenge center and lock eyes on f5, preparing precise countermeasures with flair. Answers bg4 pinning and provoking, bishop plants a thorn, threatening to unravel white's coordination under mounting heat. Wesley clamps with Raccoon, rook activates on c-file behind queen, coordinating heavy pieces for looming tactical fireworks. Retreats queds even, queen links defenses and eyes counterplay, keeping options open while watching white's mounting pressure. Wesley plays f3, bluntly challenging black's bishop and securing e4 square, preparing to blunt enemy aggression. Slides bh3, bishop intrudes into white's kingside, an annoying thorn aiming to exchange and weaken white's shelter. Wesley calmly ef-down, rook centralizes, consolidating file control, and preparing to contest the coming central storm methodically. Captures bxg2, bishop takes bishop on g2, a concrete exchange that tears at white's kingside serenity. Wesley recaptures kxht2, king steps forward to take on g2, an audacious move bringing royal involvement into battle. Plays q6, queen centralizes with intent, threatening tactics and coordinating with pieces for a sharp tactical net. Wesley shocks with rc7, rook leaps into black's 7th rank aggressively, creating chaos and forcing immediate uncomfortable decisions. Answers b. Pawn push restrains the rook, attempting to blunt infiltration and shore up black's fragile queenside. Wesley pushes f4, pawn storms queenside, expanding space and preparing to pry open lines for decisive breakthroughs. Plays nf5, knight repositions to aggressive outpost, aiming at e3 and d4 and stirring fresh tactical possibilities. Wesley sacrifices with rx date, rook captures on date forcing resolution, an explosive decision to simplify under favorable dynamics. Recaptures x date, rook takes back on date, material equalizing while resulting structure favors white's active pieces. Wesley plays bf2, bishop retreats to stabilize, eyeing defense and latent threats, patient repositioning amid chaos. Thrusts e4, pawn storms into white's territory, cramping pieces and attempting to unleash tactical ripples across the board. Wesley calmly qc2, queen retreats to coordinate defense and attack, maintaining connective tissue among white's vibrant forces. Pushes e3, pawn advance, becomes a dangerous passed pawn, slicing space and creating immediate tactical headaches for white. Wesley plays b-on, bishop repositions to blockade e3 and prepare containment, echoing a tense, strategic siege. Strikes h5, pawn advances toward kingside, hinting at aggressive intentions and potential mating nets on the horizon. Wesley grabs rx a7, rook captures on a7 dazzlingly, pocketing material while ripping open black's queenside, thrilling, momentum swing. Counters nd4, knight states present centrally, eyeing forks and counter threats, refusing to yield despite material deficit. Wesley plays q4, queen advances forcefully, centralizing and targeting tactical shots, while amplifying white's attacking orchestra. You replies, QC4, queen threads into c4 square, coordinating defense and counterplay, preparing to harass white's exposed king. Wesley captures qx3, queen takes on e3, siding the dangerous pawn, and neutralizing a major black threat immediately. You replace ncdt0, knight jumps dangerously into white's camp, aiming at a1, and threatening to cause havoc with forks. Wesley plays qe7, queen invades 7th rank, menacingly close to black's king and forcing immediate calculation under pressure. You answers Nixione, knight captures on Ione with check, a sharp tactical blow that tears into white's coordination briefly. Wesley plays kf2, his king steps forward bravely, dodging checks while tightening coordination and preparing a stubborn defensive stand. You counters with qd4u, queen delivers a sharp check, probing weaknesses and trying to drag white's king into danger. Wesley answers kf1, slipping back to safety, refusing panic as he stabilizes the position under relentless pressure. You jumps nctbo, knight storms in with menace, threatening forks and stirring immense tactical turmoil around white's shaken camp. Wesley strikes qe7, queen lands a fierce check, citing initiative and turning defense into sudden, explosive counterattack. You blocks with kite, king tucks into the corner, trying to escape the queen's relentless pursuit and restore stability. Wesley plays qxf5, queen delivers another slicing check, ripping at black's king side and opening dangerous mating channels. You replies gate, king steps back into open air, desperately running from the queen's merciless spotlight. Wesley fires qf7 again, cycling checks while tightening the noose, forcing black into predictable defensive patterns. You responds kite, repeating moves under pressure, searching for a momentary respite from white's suffocating initiative. Wesley repeats qh5, queen oscillates with purpose, testing black's resolve and inching closer to a decisive breakthrough. You answers kite, still fleeing checks, his king's journey becoming increasingly desperate in this chaotic battlefield. Wesley persists with qss7, pushing black's king further into exhaustion, pressing advantage through relentless harassment. You chooses kite, once again cornering his king, hoping white's momentum may eventually cool. Wesley brings kjto. King marches forward, joining battle with unusual courage and preparing supporting roles for attack. You interposes nithriing, knight gives a sharp check, trying to disrupt white's coordination and spark counterplay. Wesley calmly plays kh3, king sidesteps danger, maintaining composure while keeping attacking pieces harmoniously poised. You follows with k7, king creeps outward, seeking safer terrain and potential counterchances against white's central forces. Wesley strikes qh5, an assertive check rekindling pressure, steering black's king back toward perilous territory. You replace gate, forced again into familiar ground, unable to shake the queen's persistent pursuit. Wesley develops re7, rook invades powerfully, adding fresh fire and preparing devastating threats with coordinated force. You response r-fight, rook blocks pathways, standing as final barrier shielding king from white's intensifying assault. Wesley pushes f5, pawn drives forward like a battering ram, threatening structural collapse across black's weakened queenside. You counters speaks f5, pawn captures, trying to dull white's advance but opening more lines for tactical punishment. Wesley answers nd5. Knight leaps into center with authority, threatening forks and amplifying his attacking storm. You defense with nd5. Knight steps forward to contest the center, battling to neutralize white's overwhelming activity. Wesley swings k5. Queen centralizes with lethal intent, spotlighting weaknesses around black's king with ruthless precision. Win. You trades coup-6. Queen captures to relieve pressure and simplify, desperate to reach a survivable endgame. Wesley recaptures Rek c5. Rook restores material while gaining dominant activity, ready to orchestrate decisive tactical blows. You place nb4. Knight jumps aggressively, poking at a2 and c2 while searching for counterplay, in an unforgiving position. Wesley answers re4. Rook shifts with purpose, eyeing e-file dominance and preparing to clamp down on black's mobility. You moves nd5. Knight retreats to active square, hoping to erect defensive walls amid mounting pressure. Wesley activates rc4. Rook glides to c-file, tightening grip and preparing to invade with clinical precision. You place rf6. Rook centralizes defensively, trying to hold collapsing lines and prevent white's rooks from taking over. Wesley continues with rc5. Rook penetrates deeper, threatening bases of black's structure and preparing decisive infiltration. You blocks with rf5. Rook challenges its counterpart, attempting to trade and ease the suffocating pressure. Wesley raises r8, delivering check with authoritative rook, forcing black's king toward dangerous squares. You answers kf even. King steps forward nervously, trying to dodge rook checks while clinging to survival. Wesley pushes s6. Pawn advances decisively, becoming a lethal passer ready to tear open black's last defenses. You counters na3. Knight jumps defensively, hoping to interfere with rooks and delay white's unstoppable advance. Wesley pushes g4, a fierce wing advance that blasts open lines and signals his intention to hunt black's pieces relentlessly. You replace raf5. Rook swings to the flank, seeking counterplay on the a-file, while trying to restrain white's rising storm. Wesley activates rcs. Rook delivers a crisp check, tightening the net and forcing black's king into further retreat. You answers kf6. King steps forward into the battlefield, hoping central squares offer shelter from white's pressure. Wesley continues rh6, another forcing check, driving black's king like a hunted fugitive across open terrain. You place kf7, sliding back under duress, unable to shake the constant harassment of white's active rooks. Wesley advances kj3. King marches boldly, joining the attack and lending crucial support to his surging pieces. You pushes sk5, attempting counterfire on the king's side, creating tensions and trying to destabilize white's advancing formation. Wesley counters h4. Pawn storms forward with violent intent, ripping at black's kingside and opening channels for attack. You captures gxh4. Pawn sacrifice with check, trying to break open lines around white's king and create complications. Wesley responds kxh4. King recaptures confidently, stepping deeper into battle while maintaining absolute control. You plays nd5. Knight jumps into the center, seeking forks and tactical threats to resist white's overwhelming initiative. Wesley thrusts e4. Pawn drives forward, undermining black's knight and opening new lanes for a crushing assault. You replace na7. Knight retreats defensively, clinging to survival as white's army swarms dangerously around him. Wesley plays RB6, rook invades queenside with dominance, targeting weaknesses and amplifying pressure to decisive levels. You counters ing6, knight checks, hoping to disrupt white's coordination and force minor inaccuracies in a tense moment. Wesley calmly answers kj3, stepping aside and maintaining full command despite black's fleeting counterplay attempts. You brings ra3. Rook penetrates along the a-file, searching for checks and counter chances amid collapsing defenses. Wesley pushes g5, pawn storms forward, tearing open kingside lines and clearing space for a crushing tactical finale. You replies nefiv. Knight centralizes defensively, trying to shield his king from the incoming avalanche of threats. Wesley activates rf6, rook check slices through black's position, dragging the king into deeper chaos. You answers Decisive, stepping back into danger, unable to find true refuge from white's merciless coordination. Wesley continues kjt2-0, king centralizes safely, preparing to support rooks and pawns for the final decisive breakthrough. You plays nd3, knight returns to active post, seeking forks and last-ditch resistance against overwhelming pressure. Wesley lifts ar6, rook advances aggressively, eyeing kingside pressure and setting up deadly mating motifs. You responds ra5, rook retreats to intercept threats and cling to remaining defensive resources. Wesley pushes a7, pawn charges forward like a spear, threatening promotion and pushing black to the brink. You captures rxc5e, rook snatches pawn with check, a desperate attempt to generate counterplay and stall white's attack. Wesley answers kf1, king calmly steps aside, refusing panic and readying the final coordinated assault. You plays or-gate, rook retreats to guard promotion square, hoping to form a defensive shell around his embattled king. Wesley brings k2, centralizing the king as all white pieces assemble for the finishing strike. Iyong nefive, knight repositions defensively, shielding key squares in a last stand against white's momentum. Wesley pushes foul, pawn thrust explodes open lines, tearing at black's knight and fueling an unstoppable attack. You answers n7, knight falls back, almost out of squares as white tightens the noose mercilessly. Wesley plays ra6, rook lines up behind the a-pawn, preparing decisive pressure and unstoppable promotion threats. You responds rate, rook blocks the file, standing as final barrier between white and a new queen. Wesley continues k3, king marches closer, helping escort his advanced forces toward victory. You plays nc5, knight shifts to counter a7 pawn, and fight for survival, though the position remains grim. Wesley answers rauna, rook repositions elegantly, ready to support a7 and create lethal backrank threats. You moves nb7, knight blocks the a-file desperately, tying itself to the pawn's promotion square. Wesley pushes a5, pawn advances with authority, seizing more space and suffocating black's defensive coordination. You responds n8, knight shuffles helplessly, marking black's continually shrinking defensive hope. Wesley brings ra6, rook repeats with deadly precision, targeting weaknesses and preparing execution. You plays kd7, king tries to activate, but walks straight into white's tightening tactical web. Wesley thrusts 5, pawn explodes forward, ripping open central lines and threatening knight and king simultaneously. You answers Njit's knight, leaps in, attempting last chance blockades as chaos surrounds him. Wesley pushes e6, pawn check slices through the center, and forces black's king into absolute crisis. You replace k7. King steps away, but remains exposed to waves of unrelenting white pressure. Wesley plays f6. Pawn drives forward, cementing a lethal duo that suffocates every defensive resource black has left. You moves nb4. Knight scrambles for activity, though hopelessly outmatched by white's advancing forces. Wesley continues f7. Pawn charges with unstoppable energy, preparing promotion and sealing black's fate sooner than expected. You answers kb7. King flees toward the queenside desperately, searching for impossible shelter. Wesley activates rd6. Rook invades decisively, coordinating with pawns to enforce the final crushing collapse of black's position. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to bring you even more exciting chess games. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.